because I started a thread last night, and this is controversial, and I'm not going to say that I'm necessarily right on this one. And we can producer Nick, you can write into me on text right now and tell me where you are on this one. But I said the greatest sports movies all time ranked, and we got almost 2,500 responses to this last night. I was just sitting on my couch watching. Actually, to be fair, I wasn't watching Miracle. But I put the 5 greatest movies, and so many people were saying that Miracle should be on the list. And then I said, well, producer Mark told me to watch it too. Now I got to watch it. So I watched it. And it's very, very good. And I think you could even say it would knock off number 5 on my list. I'd be fair and say it. Or maybe move 5 to 4 and put Miracle on the list at the 4 spot. But so I'm very confident in my number 1. My number 1 on the list was Rocky. Now, you can make a case that Rocky 4 is also, but I view all the Rocky movies as kind of a continuation of Rocky 1, but I think Rocky 1 is the greatest sports movie of all time. That's my contention. Now people did not, producer Mark, can we agree that Rocky is one of the greatest sports movies of all time?
Of course, no doubt.
Okay. I will say that people did not, producer Nick says, I'll say too few lists had Sandlot on them. That's not even a sports movie. That's a kid's movie.
Oh, you're kidding, right?
The Sandlot is a sports movie the way that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
What do they do during Sandlot, Buck?
I mean, I guess they're technically playing baseball, but they're like 10 years old, aren't they?
Who cares? The Mighty Ducks is a sports movie.
I mean, I do like the big dog, and and the James Earl Jones makes a fantastic appearance in the movie. So there's that. I've never seen Mighty Ducks, so I will. Now on your rec, because you're good on the sports movie. You're 1 for 1 on sports movies. On, anxious guys selling jewels to NBA stars, you're 0 for 1. But you're 1 for 1 on the. But I had Rocky, and producer Nick is weighing it too, because this got everyone fired up. I will say a few things that came to me as I was thinking about this last night. It is noteworthy, I think. I mean, it's noticeable, perhaps a better way of saying it. Noticeable how some sports don't have any good movies about them at all. Okay, there are really very few good. Now, there are good documentaries, but I'm talking about scripted theatrical. So people would say like Hoop Dreams. Hoop Dreams is a great film for what it is, but it's not a movie in the sense of a theatrical release that is a fiction. Or that's telling a story like that. I mean, it's really a documentary in film form. So I think that's up. You think about what's a great basketball movie. Hoosiers, certainly high on the list. A lot of people are throwing Hoosiers out there. No great tennis movies that I've ever. I mean, I'm a tennis player.
We're talking about sports movies. Buck.
Wow. The range is hot. Look at this. Producer Mark throwing lead down the range toward the tennis players. Okay, we got Rizzuto. Okay, wait. Rizzuto sent his list. All right, hold up. Rizzuto sent his list. I've got my list here that I need to read off first, and you can all throw tomatoes at me because I got lit up. I basically got dragged on Twitter for my top 5 sports movies list. Producer Mark agrees. Rocky, number 1. I put Rudy at number 2. Now, you don't have to say that Rudy is your second favorite sports movie of all time, but I do think that there's general agreement that Rudy is a great sports movie. Producer Mark, yay or nay?
Agree with you. Yes, of course.
Okay, great sports movie. I got a little more on the edge when I got to my number 3 here. Wait, and I know people are going to say Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams, go back and watch it again. I mean, I know it's a nice movie, but no one's like, let me watch Field of Dreams again. Come on. No way. Guy's building a baseball field out in the corn stalks or whatever. It makes no sense. Major League, I put at my number 3, and it's also, I think, a great comedy. Maybe not top 10, but I think you could argue Major League might be in the top 20 or 30 all-time best comedy films. I think Major League is a great movie. Really funny, holds up really well. The characters are excellent. I know I'm not saying you agree with it, producer Mark, but am I crazy yet? Because I'll tell you what people started.
You're not crazy. I think Major League is one of the better sports movies. I really did enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I moved up on the list, and this is where people just started really like. I said Creed. I really liked the movie Creed. I thought Sylvester Stallone managed to be excellent in it. I thought it was going to be really bad, and it wasn't. So I put it at number 4. Now, that's a controversial pick, and I understand that. People started to throw. Did you see that movie? Did you like that movie?
I love Creed. I think it's a great movie, but is the top 5 greatest sports movies of all time? Like, come on. I would throw that in with the Rocky series.
Yeah, it should be in with the Rocky.
Yeah, it's grouped in.
I would take a mulligan on this one. It should be in with the Rocky series. That's fair. I also put Friday Night Lights in there, which people really did not like.
No.
They were like, you're out of your mind, Sexton. What is wrong with you? And that's also where I'll say that the 2 movies that came up the most that people were telling me, you got to have on the list here for the best sports movies of all time were Miracle, which I then went and watched last night because so many people, plus producer Mark, had already told me, and I told him I would. Stayed up to 1:30 in the morning to watch Miracle last night. Very good movie. One of Kurt Russell's best movies, and I'm actually a Kurt Russell fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tombstone is his best. I'm probably then Big Trouble in Little China just because I love that movie, even though it's absurd. But, I mean, it's a top 5 Kurt Russell. Producer Nick, I'm sure, has his top Kurt Russell films that he could send us to. But, speaking of producer Nick, he wrote in, he said, Raging Bull, Hoosiers, Rudy, Rocky, Sandlot. He gave an honorary mention to Cool Runnings. Producer Mark, you will have to deal with all the incoming on this one. What are your top 5 greatest sports movies of all time?
In no particular order.
Fine, in no order. We'll just give you the top 5.
Definitely Miracle. Remember the Titans. I'm shocked nobody has mentioned.
People mentioned that in my thread, but go ahead.
That is an amazing movie. Mighty Ducks has to be in there for me. I'm going to go with... I kind of want to put Moneyball in there. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like it's more of a sports management movie.
You're right. So that's why I don't really want to put it in there, but it is a very good sports movie. I'll say Hoosiers, definitely, and I got to go Slapshot. I mean, I know my list is mostly hockey.
I was going to ask you, is Slapshot... I had Emerald Robinson from One America News wrote to me that I'm insane because I did not put Slapshot on there. I had never... I don't even think I had heard of this movie before.
Yeah, it is a cult classic for hockey fans.
People love this. Is a Paul Newman film.
Yeah, and his brother was in it too.
So what's interesting is there are good football movies, there are good hockey movies, there are good boxing. Now boxing, I actually think you could take up. I think you could make a case that Rocky, and again, all of Rocky goes into Rocky 1 as far. Otherwise, it's just, it could be Rocky 1, Rocky 4, Rocky 2, Creed. I mean, you get all these, some of them are garbage. Like Rocky 5 was an abomination, but, but then you see some of the other. I think you can make a strong case. Cinderella Man is a fantastic movie for what it is. And I also think that The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg and the guy who plays Batman, Christian Bale, excellent movie. Excellent movie.
But they're not worthy of a top 5 list.
I'm glad people didn't do... Usually when you say the greatest movies, people do this nostalgia-based thing where they go, oh, the greatest sports movie of all time is Chariots of Fire.
Let's not go crazy there.
Exactly. Let's not... Just because it's old doesn't mean it's great, okay? Some old stuff is great, but no. Movies, it's very hard for movies to stand the test of time. And that's why when they do, I mean, I think Casablanca, for example, I mean, there are movies that are still somehow magical today that were magical a long time ago. And I'm not talking about 20 years ago. I'm talking about, 50 years ago. There are some, but a lot of movies, the acting style has changed dramatically. Production value has changed dramatically. It's very tough for them to stay, as good as they were. And I think a lot of nostalgia pushes it. So interesting. Bull Durham also. Senator Ted Cruz came in. I mean, I can tell you, some people really got fired up about this thread. Senator Ted Cruz came in with how Bull Durham absolutely needs to be on this list. Producer Mark, what say you?
What about, I've never actually seen Bull Durham, but I'm going to go with, what about Happy Gilmore? Do we count that as a sports movie?
You have an Adam Sandler thing. That's what this really is.
All right, you're not telling me that 80s and 90s Adam Sandler isn't great.
I mean, it was funny, but I don't know if it's the greatest sports. I don't know if it's greatest sports.
I was asking if you considered Happy Gilmore a sports movie.
No, I think it's because I don't think it's really about the sport at all. I think it's a straight up comedy. I don't think you'd really consider it. This is where you start getting into is Gladiator an action movie? I mean, there are these fuzzy zones, but it's anyway. I'm just saying you could also if you were really into ice skating, you could be into The Cutting Edge, for example, from the 90s. I remember that one. With,
Tonya, everyone really liked recently.
That is a really good movie.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not not
really a sports movie, but
it's really it's a character study. It's really not a great sports movie. It's not really about the sports. I'm just saying. I mean, this is my theory on these things. But anyway, so okay, I'm glad. So basically, you agree with me. Rudy and Rocky are great, and then you love a bunch of hockey movies. So we've settled it. Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.